back to another lesson. Today we're doing some great riffs from John Fogerty. Now, he was really famous in Queen's Clearwater Revival, but way back in, I think, 1961-62, he was in a band called the Blue Velvets. After that, he went to a band called the Gollywogs, which was actually Queen's Clearwater Revival. They changed their name in about 68 and had a bunch of really, really great songs. Obviously, if you're watching this channel for any length of time, you've known that I love Queens, and I've already done a couple of lessons. Two of those great riffs that they've done are Green River and Fortunate Son, and I've done full breakdowns of both of those songs. I'll put the links below so you can actually go to see those. So they're not in my top 5 today, but my other top 5 riffs are as follows. Now, the first one you just heard me play at the start, it's Susie Q from 1968 album called Queen's Clearwater Revival. It was their first album. This riff and most of his riffs are just classic pentatonic minor blues riffs, and they get in your head. They're great fun. They're easy to play. The first one here, Susie Q. Those little hammer-ons from the open string to the 2nd fret on both those strings, key to kind of getting this nice and flowing smooth. But also, if you want to play a more fuller sounding version, or a more full sounding version, like you heard me do at the very start here, you can add your bottom E string, obviously it's in the key of E, add that on every beat. Now what that means is that you're going to be doing this. So I've done a separate tab underneath the original riff that includes this bass note if you want to get this fingerstyle going. Now, the challenge there is to actually get those hammers at the same time as you pick the bass note. So without picking the hammered note, if you know what I mean, you pick the bass note and hammer the higher note of the two when they happen together. Just a little challenge there if you want it. The second riff is from a less famous Queen's Clearwater song called Ramble Tamble. It was off Cosmo's Factory, which was a 1970s album, now, or a 1970 album I should say. To do this, we're going to have to drop our E string down to D, and I'm going to do it live here on the video to show you how easy it is. Basically what you do is you play your D, open D string, you drop your E down so it's lower than that D, and then you bring it up from beneath. Why do you come up from beneath? Because it makes for a smoother, more stable tuning. If you just drop down to a note, chances are you can get a little bit of slippage and a little bit of extra slack catching up in the nut of the string up here. It's much more stable to go flat and then bring the note up to pitch from the flat side of things rather than drop it down from the sharp side. If that makes sense, great. If it doesn't really matter. Get your tuning down to D and then play this riff. The trick there is to get both of those G and B strings sounding together and clean. Like that. And a little percussive note there. Do that 8 times and then you go. Second part, or the third part really. Can we cover your 7s? And if you play it with your 3rd and 4th fingers, it makes it easy to get down to that shape on the 4th and 5th fret, and then the 2nd and 3rd fret. That's Ramble Tamble. The next riff is probably my favorite riff and quite possibly my favorite song out of all Queen's songs. Again, we're in drop D tuning, so stay where you are with that bottom E string and it's Run Through the Jungle, again from Cosmo's Factory. I've just switched on a tremolo effect because it just sounds so much better with this kind of riff and this song. Just beautiful, just such an awesome swampy blues riff that you just can't get away from it. Now, a couple of things here. The second time through, he does this really subtle little, instead of going, he goes and plays those two double stops ahead of that riff. Really subtle thing, but it's there. And in the second part of that riff, when you're going, you're kind of moving up, just catching that top string and coming back to the G and B strings. You don't have to be super accurate with it. Just listen for that melody that you want to hear and you'll be able to pick it out. For the fourth riff, I've turned the tremolo off again, but it's back into standard tuning. Now, just to show you how easy it is to get back into standard tuning, so you shouldn't really be afraid of dropping down to drop D and coming back again. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and it's good for your ear. It's great practice for your ear. To get back into, the easiest way, I think, to get back into standard tuning, bring your E string from D back up to E again. Use your harmonics. Use the 5th fret harmonic on the E string, the 7th fret harmonic on the A string. And if you don't know how to do this, I'm going to probably do another lesson about tuning by harmonics at a later date. But that and that should be the same. So you play them both. And then bring that E string up until you hear this oscillation between those two harmonic notes get slower and slower and slower. When you can't hear it oscillating anymore, that's in tune. Or you can do it by ear. You can play an E, like your top E or your 2nd fret D string, and tune your E string up to that. Either way, it's quite easy, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. So don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. I'm scared. Anyway, okay. Up Around the Bend is a really classic kind of riff. It's played with a pick. I'm going to do it with my fingernail. But it's really this. It's the D string and a D major triad on the 10th fret. So it's 11, 10, 10, and you play the open D string. Then he does it on the A, which is open A string down to the 5th fret, A major triad. Back to D. So it sounds like this. Get that slide if you can. Slide up to that 11 and up to that 6. Make it sound good. Simple riff, but so distinctive. Everyone knows what that song is the minute they hear that intro. The last riff is Hey Tonight from another 1970 album called Pendulum. They released 2 albums in the same year, but it goes like this. And some lessons I've seen have not quite got this exactly right. I'm going to play it first and then point out the thing that most people miss. Start up here with your top 2 strings, and most of it's played on the top 2 strings except for that end riff. Go open B and 12, come down to 9, and then to 7. Play all those notes together. 012, 09, 07. And then come off to the open string on both the B and the G. And you do that with an up strum. It doesn't matter whether you're using pick or fingers. Go down, 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 up. And then what you're doing here is you're going to 5 on the B string. Now the open string is the E string. But what you're doing is you're sliding down. So So it sounds like that. Great effect. So you're going. It doesn't matter which finger you slide down to that 5 with, but slide down, and that's the bit that most people miss. Then we go to the 6 on the D. Now what you're wanting to do here is muffle the G string with one of your fingers, either the side of your 3rd finger or whatever finger you land on that 6 with. Use the side of your finger to muffle that G string, because you want to hear the open strings on top, the B and the E, with the D, but nothing else. I like to muffle it with the tip of my 1st finger, just to make it a little bit more certain. And you go 6, 4, 2, 4, 6, 4, 2, 4. Just going back and forth between the D string and the open 2 strings on the top. Alright, so I've gone 3rd finger, 1st finger, 1st finger. And that 1st finger is doing the muting there for me. Hey, tonight. And off the song goes. So once more that riff. Go and listen to some Creedence if you don't know them very well. If you do know them very well, hopefully this has helped you get inside some of their riffs a little bit further. Thanks for watching. See you next time.